Welcome to another episode of Pit Lane Parlay.
Welcome to another episode of Pit Lane Parlay. My name is host Mike Jokum. Jess and Matt are joining me here. This week brought to you by our friends at gripmat.com, the world's first flexible non-slip tool mat that makes for a great grip for the person in your life who loves working on their car or bike or whatever is in their garage. Use promo code PLP10 for 10% off your order. So we'll dive in real briefly with a quick Rolex 24 chat. If you want to hear more, our buddy George and I did a Rolex 24 preview that was released Tuesday. And also, if you're curious more about what the heck balance of performance is in terms of IMSA racing, Ryan Eversley and I talked about that, and that came out on Monday. So with that, I'll turn it over to you guys. Any Rolex 24 predictions for this weekend?
Man, I don't know if I have a prediction. I have a hope. How about I hope to see some female drivers do real well. I don't know if winning is in the cards, even in their class or whatever. But I hope they're up there, and I hope they have a heck of a 24 hours.
For me, I guess I'm just kind of aboard the Team IndyCar train. Just hope everybody there does really well. Hope everybody in the field has a safe race, and Roger Penske's had quite the offseason already, and I think it wouldn't be a surprise to me at all if his team came out and showed that while he has had a crazy offseason, that their team is still focused and ready to win this year. So I think we'll see some sort of Penske win. I don't know how many entries they have. I think they have 2. So hopefully whichever one, Elio Castroneves is not driving. But I do think that Team Penske as a whole is pretty good, and I think they'll hopefully show well on the race.
I would have never guessed you would.
I don't know. Is that a surprise to anybody, I guess? I can't really go like an episode without dissing Elio in some sort of capacity.
Well, with that being said, my one hope for the weekend is that the Corvettes do really well and surprise me. I think they were one of my predictions if you listen to the prediction episode, but you never know with a new car that hasn't really been race tested yet. So we will continue on with one more Rolex thing here. Jess, what are you most looking forward to this weekend being at the track, and what should fans look forward to most this weekend at the track?
Well, to kind of keep on your prediction or hope, I guess, I cannot wait to see that gray Corvette in person. That thing is beautiful. So I want to see that Corvette. And then I also really want to drag you out and do some of the stuff in the midway, like, middle of the night, just for fun, kind of enjoy the fan aspect and see what we can see.
That's great. As long as we don't have to go on the Ferris wheel, because host Mike doesn't do heights.
Come on, Ferris wheels doesn't count as heights. It's not like a roller coaster when you're Paris Lee. Come on, look how bummed she is. Come on, it will make her so happy to go on the Ferris wheel.
Just make it at 3 o'clock in the morning when I don't know the difference.
Okay.
Do we know what race time is? Is it 11:30 or
2:35 or something? It's a little later. I think it was 2:35 or 2:45.
All right, so I want a competition for you two and for people at home, I guess, is who's going to be the first one to fall asleep, and at what time do you think they're going to fall asleep? So my guess for Jess, what time do you think she's going to pass out at?
I don't know. Jess works late hours, so I can see her surviving till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Me, I'll either make it straight through the night, or at 11 o'clock, 11:30, I'll be struggling. So I can see myself. I'm not even going to pick myself for this one. I can see myself nodding off before Jess does.
Yeah, I definitely think he's going to nod off before I do, simply because he can fall asleep in the middle of a sentence. So he can fall asleep pretty much anywhere. I was going to be nice though. And I was going to give you till like, I don't know, 2 a.m. before you nod off. And me, yeah, you were probably right. That 5, 6 o'clock in the morning is going to be the real tough time for me. I'm going to be really starting to struggle then. But if I can push through that, I think I'm good for the whole 24.
I expect updates.
You'll get them.
Yeah, I think we'll try to do some sort of like Instagram or Facebook live for fun, not particularly serious, but maybe some sort of update, maybe while we're walking around the Midway. I don't know. We'll have some fun with it and keep everybody entertained.
So you said when I get you onto the Ferris wheel, right? That's what you said?
Yep.
Perfect. All right. So we are going to move on. We just want to touch real briefly on Chili Bowl because we did talk about it last week. Kyle Larson finally got it done. I'm so excited. I posted it all over social media. I was so happy to see him actually get it done. I wanted to pick him last week when we did our picks. I picked Brady Bacon, but I was like a little worried that I would jinx him. So I was super excited to see him get it done. Unfortunately, the IndyCar guys did not get it done. They, in fact, all moved backwards, and none of them made it out of their first heat race. So James Davidson started in the M Feature 2, and he moved backwards 4 spots to finish 9th. Let me see here. This one is the H Feature 2 was Connor Daly, and he moved back 5 spots to finish 9th. And in the K Feature 2, Santino moved back 5 spots to finish 7th. So unfortunately, none of them ran the alphabet soup. And I would like to see them try it again, though. I think they all seem to have fun. Definitely a good race. That A-Main was really, really good if you guys got to see it. If not, see if you can find it online because it was good.
Yeah, I didn't see any of it. I was just following it on Twitter. And I was particularly following Brady Bacon to see how he was going to do and to see if I could make fun of you in the show or if I had to give you credit. And we are now at the portion of the episode where I get to make fun of you. So,
okay.
I mean, like I said, you only had 3,000 drivers to pick from. So come on, Jess.
Roughly,
give or take. Yeah, and I think I don't know what you would say. Most dissatisfying part was kind of seeing how dejected Connor was after, he had his spin and therefore got eliminated. He was pretty upset and kind of alluded to the fact that maybe he should just call it good and not try again because couldn't figure it out for whatever reason. So, give him a lot of props for trying, and the other 2 that you mentioned as well, Davison and Ferrucci, good for them. But I wonder if they will be back next year racing again.
Yeah, I definitely think Santino and Davison will be back. I know Connor came out and said, I'm not sure if I'll be doing it next year. I think that article came out on Racer either Sunday or Monday. So I'll have to look and reshare that. But I think Santino, I want to say, did the best because obviously he didn't advance, but looked the most competitive from the highlights I saw. And then I did watch the A-Main Saturday night on some stream I found on Reddit. So thank you to whoever posts those. And it was an awesome race. It was a lot of fun to watch. And I enjoyed staying up late to watch, good dirt track action there in bed. So with that, we will continue on.
Yeah, an interesting discussion was kind of taking place today, and it kind of centered around an article that Marshall Pruitt of Racer Mag wrote in regards to the hybrid engines and how it may impact the future of IMSA and specifically IndyCar. The article went into great technical details, which I think is a testament to, Marshall's background in that area. He's very well versed in that area and knows a lot of the kind of finer details that, speaking for myself, I particularly struggle in. Not something I am well versed in and don't know a whole lot about, but he kind of dove into some of the ramifications that may be coming for IndyCar. And I think the big thing is that IndyCar now, for the third time, may have to rethink their engine formula for the 2022 season, which is what they've set forth that planned changes. And I guess, again, it's just for long and complicated reasons that Marshall kind of breaks down. But in a sense, the auto industry may be shifting some of their focus on what kind of hybrid technology we may be seeing in the future and what may be changing. So I guess my question to you guys after reading that article is, I mean, what does IndyCar do at this precise moment? Do they decide to switch things up again, or should they maybe just stick firm and see where the industry goes?
Yeah, it's an interesting article that I had to read, a bunch of times to make sense of, which, like Matt said, is definitely a testament to Marshall's technical background. What I grabbed from the article was that it doesn't seem like a great benefit to the manufacturers and to IndyCar to just have the hybrid turbo unit. Instead, they're looking at, hey, maybe we should put the hybrid powertrain as a whole in the hands of the manufacturers, which is, if that's the direction they're going, they've got 2 years before this car is released for testing. So that means there's probably 18 to ish months of testing and trying out different things. So long story short, I think they've got time. I don't think they need to drastically change course if Marshall is right here, and that they're kind of allowing the manufacturers to have more control over how the hybrid powertrain will be. I'm all for it. It's a little less spec and a little more open in terms of the engine. I'm sure they'll probably say, hey, you have to be within these parameters. But all in all, I think it's actually even more intriguing to me than the hybrid portion already was.
Yeah, I mean, not just IndyCar, but racing in general was kind of built to show what cars can do. And so I feel like kind of have to keep up with what is current, but they also, like you said, have to set some parameters and make sure that everybody's staying within those, because obviously we can't totally open it back up like it was in the old days. But it would be fun to see them have a little bit more flexibility, I guess you could say, in what the cars can do. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, and with a guy like Jay Fry, and now with the sphere of influence that Roger Penske has, I fully anticipate whatever happens for, again, all those complicated technical reasons. Whatever happens, I fully trust the brain trust within IndyCar to make the right decisions. So it's definitely something worth keeping an eye on. We'll keep you guys updated at home when news comes out. I mean, obviously we still have a little bit of time. I don't know when their preliminary testing dates were. I'm assuming they're not going to be until next year at the earliest. So, we still got time to follow it. They still have time to make their decision. And hopefully along with that comes the third OEM that they've been chasing. But to kind of add on to a question, obviously with these changes coming, the first change was, a bigger engine that was kind of an expansion on what we currently have, to changing it about 9 or so months later to hybrid technology. And now I may have been off on that, maybe more like 12 months to now maybe a third change. Should IndyCar be worried about maybe upsetting Chevy and Honda at this point?
Maybe. Difficult to say. I feel like if we were a little bit closer to them implementing the new engines, get more of a reaction from everybody involved. But I feel like we're still so far out that there's enough time and enough room to do their testing and everything that nobody should really be worried right now.
Yeah, I completely agree there. There's enough time that things can be tweaked, as we've seen with the aero screen and the recent edition of the air hose. Wow, I completely drew a blank on what that was called. So, I think there's plenty of time. I'm sure next couple months we might hear something, and then maybe that'll be tweaked again. So I'm not overly concerned with anything just yet.
Yeah, nor am I. I know that Chevy and Honda have been very loyal in recent memory. I'm just worried about a similar situation that I believe happened in the 01 kart season. Basically, Toyota decided that they were going to leave the sport after kart basically pulled the rug out from under them and made some sweeping engine changes that they didn't like. So I don't think we'll see something similar to that, but who knows? I think it's definitely something to keep an eye on, and hopefully everything works out for the best for IndyCar.
Very well said. So with that, a quick shout out to some of our new Team Pit Lane members. Let's go with Christian Danevsky, Danny Vaughn, and last but not least, I'm looking at the list here. Let's go with our pal, author / filmmaker / photographer extraordinaire, Stephen King.
Oh, yeah. All quality people. Thanks so much, guys. So I got stumped to host this week. I do think I got you guys covered this week, but I will preface it by saying that the 3 answers to this question, they're all active drivers. So keep that in mind. You guys can blurt out the answers whenever you want. You don't have to wait. So Jess, you're on notice that Mike might just start shouting.
Which is normal.
Yeah, normal. Nothing new. All right. AJ Foyt Enterprises is expected to announce their plans for the number 4 car tomorrow. That would be Wednesday, so we're recording on a Tuesday here. Sneaking suspicion, my personal sneaking suspicion that has no confirmation to it at all, is that Charlie Kimball might be somewhat in the fold at some point. Not sure how, not sure full-time, part-time, whatever, but I think he may be involved, and if not, then just ignore me. But so he would be an American driving for AJ Foyt Enterprises. Who are the last 3 American drivers to drive for AJ Foyt Enterprises?
Connor Daly.
There's one.
I got absolutely nothing right now.
You said they're all active drivers?
They sure are.
Okay.
So don't say Billy Boat.
That definitely would not have ever crossed my mind.
And Kenny Breck is Swedish.
Hunter Ray.
Yes. Bonus point for guessing the race.
It was like 10 years ago.
Oh no, hold on. He bought his way into the 500.
Winner. Although I think Andrew already did that for him, but
whatever.
Same diff.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 2 for Jess. So Jess automatically wins. Any guesses on the third one before I start dishing out some hints?
Give me just a second. Let me think here. Nope, dish a hint.
I don't know how good you guys are with colors, but he drove a purple and white car for the team at the Indy 500 one year. He drives for the team that bought Hunter Ray his ride.
Yeah, him.
Well, who drives for Andretti Autosport?
Well, I know that's what I'm thinking.
It's not Marco Andretti or Ryan Hunter-Reay.
It wasn't Rossi. It wasn't Zach.
So it had to be...
I don't know who's left there.
Marco.
No, we were looking for Zach Veach.
Oh, we were?
Oh, right. That one.
I'm like,
yeah.
Like, I don't think Marco ever drove for it.
That's my personal favorite. Well, I was like, it's not Marco, it's not Hunter-Reay. And Mike's like, well, it wasn't Rossi. And it wasn't Zach Veach. I'm like, wait, isn't it though? Oh, we need to frame that moment.
That was fun.
Hey, Jess, congratulations. You won.
Woohoo! I never win these.
I feel like Mike should boo himself. Can we get a boo real quick? Got him.
Okay, so with that, guess what time it is, guys? Man, it's been a minute since we've got the Joker lap. So I am going to kind of play off of something that Mike decided to share with us earlier, and that he does not like the Ferris wheel, which is crap because I wanted to go on it. So if you had to put a, we'll call it a carnival type ride or a fair type ride inside of your racetrack to have the fans be able to play on or whatever, what ride would you pick?
I want a never-ending dunk tank with Mike Jokum on it.
Yes.
I can live with a dunk tank. I'm fine with that.
You want to be dunk tanked for days upon days with paying customers being like, yes, I get to dunk Mike Jokum. And, if they happen to throw a tomato at your face and miss the target, I'm not going to punish them for that.
You win some, you lose some. So, I'll take that chance. I don't do rides at all. So I literally am just going, dunk tank sounds good. So I don't even know where to go with this. Maybe one of those like little kiddie roller coasters that goes like 2 miles an hour. I could do that.
I mean, that would be kind of fun.
Did you say that was me kind of, don't validate his answer.
I mean, it could be fun. At least the kids would enjoy it. Probably more than a dunk tank because the kids wouldn't really give a crap since they don't know who he is.
Yeah, but let's be honest. We'd have lines of people trying to get Mike into the water.
Yeah, we probably would. So I think I would pick the octopus. Do you guys remember that thing? The black thing that just spins like...
I always got on like the one that would never stop spinning.
Oh, well, that's no fun. I used to love that ride though when I was a kid. So that's what I would do because I think that could appeal to, everybody.
Do you know the one that like you're like standing up with your back against like a
Gravitron?
Is that what it's called? The one that rotates really fast and then like, you get sucked up with the G-forces and sucked down.
Mike is dying.
Well, because I'm pretty sure
talking about it.
I'm pretty sure we did a science problem in high school where that if you were to throw up on that ride, that because of the forces in there, the throw up would actually just come back right in your face.
That makes sense.
I don't know if it's ever been. Well, I've never personally witnessed. Oh, Mike, sounds like you got a story to share there.
The only time I have ever done that ride, I did get a little sick. I can confirm it does stick to you. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I don't like rides, and I'm going to go put myself back on mute.
I swear I did not know this. This is something that just happened. This was not scripted at all. We literally did this in a high school problem once. And the forces or whatever throws the throw up back in your face. So that's really unfortunate. I don't know quite how to react to that. I feel really bad for Mike. I mean, it's such a shame that something like that would happen to him. But I'm glad he can confirm that is, in fact, the case in that ride.
So how fast, do you remember from your high school problem, how fast it spins?
No. Enough to make Mike throw up.
I know that the whole anti-gravity thing can be achieved at only 7 miles an hour. If you're spinning at 7 miles an hour and then they stop you, it's the anti-gravity thing. I only know that because of Disney World has a ride that does it. And I was getting off one day and somebody asked. I did not ask, but somebody else asked and I overheard the answer. It spins at 7 miles an hour. I don't know if that one...
Isn't this like fun?
I thought it was fun.
No, I know, but who gets off a ride like, what's the force that the anti-gravity kicks in?
Yeah, I don't. Well, they just asked how fast it spun, so they weren't getting all technical. They just said, "How fast does this thing spin?"
What? Hello, sir. What does the anti-gravity kick in, please?
Yes, they did not. They didn't get technical. I guess I could have. Same difference.
Well, anyways, that's I guess any other Joker Lap thoughts? Okay, we'll move it on there. Got a bunch of fan questions roll through here. So we just want to say thanks to everybody who submitted questions this week. We got a bunch. Picked a couple to go through here, starting with Jason True on Facebook. Asked if we could bring back one of these races that produced the best racing, which would it be? Your choices are Nazareth, Riverside, Ontario, Texas World, Trenton, Walt Disney World, Cleveland, Motegi, or Surfers Paradise. You're spoiled for choice.
Can I throw out that Walt Disney World, this speedway doesn't actually exist anymore? It's a parking lot at Epcot. So that one will be difficult to bring back. But I will say that for personal reasons, that would be my choice because, hello.
I'm having a race in the parking lot of Epcot would probably be the same quality as having it at that old track.
Fair point. So I guess since I threw that out there, I'll go ahead and pick first. I'll say I think that it would be kind of cool to see Motegi back. They had some amazing crowds. And I always like to see all the people out and enjoying the race. And the race was decent itself. It wasn't probably the best in the world, but it was decent. And just the atmosphere looked like a lot of fun.
I'm sure my answer here is probably predictable. And I debated between two, but I'm going to go with Nazareth. These short ovals have done really well with the current iteration of IndyCar, and I think would continue to do well. And Nazareth was such a cool track. I know it's essentially in the same area as Pocono, but they had better promoters back then, so maybe they would be able to draw more of a crowd now. But as you've seen on many social media pictures, that would be a tough one to bring back. But let's just pretend this is a perfect world and all of those tracks are still standing. So I would say Nazareth.
My joke answer was Cleveland because I wanted to see Jess's reaction. That 500-mile race is only 2021. You never know. May happen. Just ask anybody on track form. It's going to come back. But my real answer is a much more realistic answer in Surfers Paradise. I think the modified layout that the supercars use is really cool looking, and obviously the crowds would be amazing. The location's amazing, and it has the history that IndyCar can attach itself to. So I think there was a lot of good answers to choose from there, but my personal favorite would probably be to see Surfers Paradise back at some point.
Very fair there. So I will... Oh, I'm sorry, Jess, it's your turn.
News came out this week that Hinch does have a sponsor for the month of May. So do we think that Hinch is going to get any extra opportunities outside of Indianapolis? And this question is coming from Drew. I'm not going to even try your last name because I don't want to butcher it. Drew A on Instagram is asking us this.
I don't think he's going to get any extra opportunities unless the sponsor really has a fun month of May. I think it's maybe one of those things where we start with 2 races in May and see if it blossoms into anything in 2021. But you never know. Stranger things have happened. I think it's super cool to see. And the company's called Genesis, which I believe Stephen King was telling us was out of the California area, probably Silicon Valley. So super cool. No team announced with that yet. But it is looking good for Hinch for his month of May. So that's good for him. And I think it may just be May only for Hinch this time around.
I think outside of Indianapolis, if I'm thinking logically, probably Toronto would be a strong possibility, and maybe Silicon Valley, maybe either Long Beach, and probably not. What's the end of the year? Laguna, finale, double points. Probably main NBC race, so a good spot for Genesis to get some marketing in. I'm sure plenty of race broadcasts will be dedicated to Hinch, especially if he's only running a handful of times this year.
I am going to have to go with Matt on this one. I don't see it happening outside of the month of May. I just don't think that it's in the cards this year. And then also Drew wants to know if we could predict which team Kyle Busch would race for if he does the 500.
I'm going to take a complete shot in the dark here. We can probably safely assume it's not going to be a Honda team. I don't think Toyota would be too thrilled with that, so it's probably going to be a Chevy. And I think we can safely assume it's probably not going to be somebody like AJ Foyt. So I'm going to say McLaren. They have a third opening now that Alonso's probably going to Andretti, and Hinchcliffe will be most likely with a Honda team if we can read between the lines on what we've seen on social media this week. So I mean, what better place for, I don't want to call him an IndyCar villain, but he's definitely a divisive personality to go than the team that a lot of IndyCar fans don't like right now.
Yeah, for me, I'll stick with the Chevy theme and go with Ed Carpenter Racing. The only reason I'm going to say them is because we've seen that they do have a history of trying new things. And so that includes bringing aboard Scuderia Corsa and signing Danica Patrick to a one-race deal. So they are not exactly shy about adding new partnerships or new drivers who may have been out of practice for a little bit. So in Busch's case, never running the Indy 500, but I think commercially it'd be good for the team. And I do think that he has the talent to make a decent showing. And so that's why I'll go with Carpenter.
So I can't really fault either one of you. Those aren't bad picks. I'm just going to throw this out there because why not? They were kind of talking about a third car previously. It kind of never came into fruition. So let's just throw him with Ray Hall Letterman. I don't really necessarily know, honestly, where I could see him, but I think it would be a heck of a story, if nothing else.
I'll definitely give you that. So, Drew, thank you for your question, and I'm glad Jess got that one because I definitely was going to butcher his last name there. Moving on, Team Pit Lane member Christian Denevsky asks, wow, that was a tough one. I'm sorry, Christian. Who is most likely to do the IndyCar double in 2020, which would be win the championship and the Indy 500? For your memory, the last time that happened was Dario in 2010.
I'm going to go with Will Power. I think Power has done very well at Indianapolis the last couple of years, including a win, obviously. He's always a threat for the championship because he's pretty much good wherever he goes. He's always fast. For the most part, pretty consistent and has some bad luck here and there. I thought he had, despite some tough results, I thought he had a really good 2019. And yeah, I think obviously driving for Team Penske as well it's never hurts. So I'm going to go with Will Power, which I think made Mike a little upset.
So I hope I don't make him upset also, but I'm going to go with Rossi. I think I made him upset. But that was my pick last year for the championship. I still kind of feel like he should have got the championship last year. So I'm saying that he's going to get it this year, and that means he's got to win the 500 if he's going to get both. So I'm going to go with Rossi.
Wow. I had an answer and I had a backup answer, and you guys you just came in there and swooped in and took my answers. But it's probably a good thing I didn't pick Will Power because we know how well Power did in the race that I picked him last year. So, Will, you're welcome if it actually happens. I am going to go with, I'm going to try to think outside the box here. Let's go with Colton Herta. Second year on the job in driving, full time for Andretti, I guess, even though he's pretty much Andretti last year. And, maybe he pulls together some consistency with some good teammates around him. So I'm going to go Colton Herta. Complete shot in the dark. I know for a second year guy may be unlikely, but let's have some fun with this.
Fair enough. All right. I've been practicing for this one. I've been working really hard on keeping a straight face. So we had an anonymous fan question.
You got this.
Okay. I appreciate it. I'm just getting mentally focused here. The anonymous fan question is, will Marco Andretti win a race in 2020?
You almost got it without laughing. You were so close.
I'm sorry.
Do I really even need to give my answer here? Because I think everybody who has ever listened to a single episode knows what my answer would be. But I'm going to go with that. Just no. That's a no.
Well, in the spirit of being different and not agreeing, I am going to say he is going to break his, I don't know, it's a 172 race drought. I think that might be exaggerating a little bit, but it's probably not far off. So I'm going to say, yeah, he's going to pull through one of the Detroit races this year.
Have you happened to watch IndyCar in the last 4 years?
Hey, I'm just doing this solely to disagree with you guys. We all can't agree. I mean, I guess we all could, but I'm just doing this. Listen, I'm going shot in the dark here with a lot of these fan questions. So I'm just trying to be different.
I appreciate that, I guess. I mean, one of us three, I honestly don't remember who, but one of us three said that to be different, Pippa Mann was going to make the Indy 500 field last year. And then she did. And I think a couple people kind of scoffed at that answer too. And turns out whoever said that was right. I honestly don't remember who of us it was.
Wasn't me.
I don't think it was me. I didn't want to be like.
I think it was you, actually, Matt.
Was it?
Yeah.
I honestly didn't remember. I swear, I'm not like trying to humble brag or anything.
No, I was very shocked, and it was very impressive effort by her. So I gave her props, but I did not think she was going to make it in.
So what I'm trying to say is stranger things have happened. I think Pippa Man making an Indy 500 field is more likely than Marco Andretti winning a race, but you never know. Things happen. We've seen some really fluky wins the last handful of years. Carlos Huerta's won a race.
This is true. Don't
ask me how. I still can't explain it. So yeah, there's a chance. No, I don't see it happening. I for some reason it just hasn't come together the last couple of years for Marco, and I think this can solidly be the first Indy 500 in some time where there's not this Andretti momentum going into the race that people think he's going to win based off of how horrendous last year was. So hopefully that chatter's a little quieter this year, because that's always an every year's thing of he's going to win the race and then he never does. So I especially don't think it's going to be at Indy, but I don't think Marco's going to win in general next year, or I guess this year.
I'll give you the going into May momentum chatter, especially after how bad last year was. But we will continue on. The last fan question of this week comes from Keith Tyron, a new member to Team Pit Lane, and somebody Jess and I met out in Laguna. Super nice guy. So Keith, thanks for the question. Do you think any IndyCar drivers will attempt the Dakar Rally in the future, which Alonso just completed last week or whenever it was recently? And who would your pick be?
I would say well in the future, possibly. I don't see it happening in the next couple years. And maybe Rossi. He seems to like really have fun in those kind of, I don't know what you want to call them, desert type runs. So I think he would have fun. It's not, I don't know if he would have fun in a regular rally race, like, through the woods and stuff, but he seems to enjoy the ones that are kind of out there. Maybe. I don't know. I can't really see it, but.
Yeah, I don't think any IndyCar drivers will, if I'm being completely honest, but for the sake of the question, if I could see one driver doing it other than Rossi, it would probably be Connor Daly, just because he has driven a lot of race cars in the past and doesn't seem to be shying away from any challenges per se. So I would say Daly.
Both good answers. I'm going to go with Santino Ferrucci. Santino's shown a willingness and mentioned a couple times in Chili Bowl interviews that he pretty much wants to just, drive whatever he can. It's the perfect time of year. I don't know what it takes funding wise, or what the business end of things looks like for the Dakar Rally, but I'm pretty sure Santino would sign up if somebody were to offer him a ride. So again, thank you to everybody who submitted questions tonight. We got a ton, so hopefully we got to everybody's. Continue to ask them. Well, there'll be plenty more episodes in the future where we have fan questions in. So with that, we will jump right into the pitfalls this week, sponsored by our new friends at Corsa Brew Coffee, tailored to the motorsports world that captures the essence of speed, power, and adrenaline. Go to corsabrew.com and use promo code PLP20 for 10% off your order. And I'm pretty sure Jess and I will be drinking plenty of that this weekend in Daytona.
And now it's time for Pit Lane Parlay's Pitfalls of the Week.
I'll go first here. Mine's pretty short. I'm going to pitfall the Formula E schedule makers. And I don't know what their thought process is, but the first race was December 15th. The second race was this past weekend, January 12th. There's at least 3 weeks to a month to even longer than that between almost every race on the entire calendar. I don't understand. It's tough to build momentum as a race series when there's so long in between races. I did watch a replay of this weekend's race, and it was pretty entertaining, but the long time period in between races is kind of a buzzkill for sure.
Yeah, can't argue with that.
I mean, yeah, what were they thinking? I understand it takes a while to transport cars all over the place and things like that, but I feel like it's still a little bit extreme.
Yep, for sure. My pitfall this week is the Australian racing series known as Supercars, the Supercars Championship. Their social media team came out with some new rules when it comes to interacting with the Supercars account. They believe in family-friendly atmosphere for all followers of all ages, and they are basically encouraging positive comments, and we will not be tolerating any sort of offensive comments of any nature. So basically, they're going to be regularly monitoring all their channels, and they will delete comments that include any of the following: offensive language, racial or gender-based insults, content of a sexual nature, content of a violent, threatening, or bullying nature, external campaigns and or derogatory and defamatory comments directed at teams, drivers, Supercars staff, officials, affiliates, and other social media users. And basically what's going to happen is they're going to monitor that, and if it happens 3 times, you'll get a 3-strike rule. Once you have 3 strikes, you'll be blocked permanently from engaging on our social media channels. I don't know how well that's going to go for him. I know for a fact that if this was a thing for us, that Mike would have blocked me years ago. IndyCar probably would not let me at racetracks anymore. Certain drivers would probably take my kneecaps out with baseball bats. I mean, there's a time period there where I was, we'll say, a little aggressive on Twitter. For those who hadn't followed in the past, that was a thing. So I don't think I would even be allowed to have the Twitter app at this moment if this was a rule 7 years ago. So I am curious to see what happens. I may test my limits and say something like, your guys' series is a bunch of sour grapes. We'll see if that gets me suspended or tossed into Twitter jail or something. I might push the bounds a little bit and go a little more aggressive than that. But I'm curious to see if any of my followers get blocked from them and see what happens.
Yeah. The one thing that I can see being a problem is in every series, not just racing, in every sport, everybody complains about the officials, about the refs. I'm pretty sure I was doing that about 2 hours ago when I was watching the Flyers game. So with that being said, if you say, oh, boo, that was a bad call, is that negative? Is that strike one? Where is the line between, okay, yes, there are some things that people say on social media, especially in the motorsports world, that is far too inappropriate to ever be allowed on social media. Sure. But where is that line going to be drawn? And I think that line will probably be somewhere where it frustrates a lot of fans. And I don't know. I don't like it either. I think the biggest thing, again, is just what's the cutoff?
Yeah, I mean, whoever gets to decide that, whoever in their social media team, that's way too much power for one person to have. I mean, think of the decisions you can be making.
Yeah, it gets a little bit much, but I'm sure that they do have more guidelines that are available, like specifically to the drivers. I would think. I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt here. Like, I agree to an extent that they should be not necessarily policing everything they say, but they should be paying attention to what they say and making sure that they're not crossing any lines that they shouldn't cross. But yeah, if the person who is making these decisions has a grudge against somebody or something, that could get real ugly real quick. So I would hope that they have some sort of system in place. And like I said, I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt and hope that they do. And then I'll do mine real quick. Mine comes from Twitter. It is an account that I believe we have spoke about before. Something opinions on NASCAR. I'm sorry, I don't have the handle up, but this is not the first time. This is many times that he's done this, and he is yet again knocking Kyle Larson for pretty much apologizing to NASCAR and saying that his win this past weekend in the Chili Bowl was bigger than Daytona, and basically it's what he's lived for or whatever. So he is knocking Kyle Larson, saying that he hopes NASCAR doesn't become the quote unquote money series. I think it has been for a minute. And I think that I think that if you can't see that and you're only thinking that Kyle Larson is the only driver who drives there because of the money, should probably take a step back and look a little closer.
Not to mention the fact that Kyle Larson has been racing on dirt since he was like 7 years old. So if he's excited to win that, great. I have no problem with if he said, hey, I would rather win the Chili Bowl than the Richmond, whatever the Richmond race is called in IndyCar. Fine. I thought it had a title sponsor, but I can't find it. So it's cool. I don't like the negativity that came out with Kyle Larson. He's excited. He just won the biggest dirt race of the year. And that's 5 days of, needing to be consistent in your driving. So I don't see an issue with it. And I think Jeff Gluck wrote an article on The Athletic as well, defending Kyle Larson. If you subscribe, go check that out.
Yeah, I personally feel like, I don't know what words I'm looking for here. Basically, it's surprising yet kind of makes me chuckle that he says that, winning the Chili Bowl is more important or as important than the Daytona 500 for him, because that's like, their biggest race of the year. I honestly don't, you never know, but I honestly don't think a guy like Santino Ferrucci would be saying that he'd rather win the Chili Bowl than the Indianapolis 500. I don't think that's something that too many people say. But for the Daytona 500, for some reason, some drivers seem to kind of downplay its importance for whatever reason. So, yeah, Kyle Larson, good for you. Have your opinion. Back it up. Don't let other people try to intimidate you out of it, because, there's a lot of people out there who can at least appreciate that you're willing to make that stand.
Yeah, definitely respect him for saying that. Good pitfall, Jess. Guys, do we have anything else before we wrap up this week? Easy enough. So again, everybody, thank you for listening and submitting fan questions. Follow along all of our social media throughout the weekend for Rolex 24 coverage. See what we can dig up and what we can get into in all hours of the day and night throughout the weekend. And Jess, go ahead and sign us off.
Guys, keep your lug nuts tight.